Hi, Sandy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the A.D.K rock and metal channel. We are the gatekeepers of metal, and we will only let the best metal through. Okay, or any metal, really, to be quite honest.
We're not being entirely serious when we say we're gatekeepers.
Oh no, we're totally serious.
Oh yeah,
we are very serious.
We stay on script.
We are elitists.
Yes.
We are ultimate elitists of rock and metal. And today we are looking at Arch Enemy and The Eagle Flies Alone. Before that, though, we're going to hand over to our video sponsor for today. Okay, so that is, we're going to talk about Arch Enemy and The Eagle Flies Alone. This came out, when the hell did this one come out?
2017 from their album Will to Power, and it's the second album to feature Alyssa White-Gluz.
There you go. See, I was going to make all these notes. I make all these notes and he still does it anyway. What's the point?
So
they are officially classed. Are they Swedish melodic death metal again?
yeah, definitely.
Getting a trend today on this one. Formed in 1995, so interested on that one. We're going to break this song down into minute blocks. Unfortunately, I didn't tell Andy that, so apologies. But we're going to break it down. We've now already watched this video. We've made our own notes to think about it. So, but we're going to let you know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the first minute to start with. So here's that first minute for you. Okay, Kirk, thoughts? Kicking it in, first riff, intro riff. Where are we going with this?
Impressive Carcass riff, which you'd kind of expect considering that Michael Amott is the main songwriter in the band who was famously in Carcass from 1989 to 1993. To me, Alyssa's guttural voice stands out. There's great clarity in what she's doing as well. And there's also a shot at the beginning which shows an eagle, and then it transitions, doesn't it, into, or fades into an image of her, and she lifts her head up, and then you see them rocking out, don't you, in some kind of quarry, I think it is.
Oh, the good old quarry metal.
Yeah.
We love a good old quarry in metal.
Yeah.
I mean, for what, yeah, I got you picked up Car, because I always said it was almost gothic in vibe, that first riff. It was surprising how rock it was for me.
Yeah.
Considering whenever I think, and now I know obviously more modern Arch Enemy did kind of, or has lent quite heavily back into its rock roots compared to early Arch Enemy with Angela, where it was a lot more of the death metal side of it. But when I was listening to this, when you listen to it and strip it back, it could have almost been a Nightwish riff in me. I was listening to that going, that sounds like something with Tarja Air and Nightwish to me. First thoughts from the first riff, Andy?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that first opening riff, and like you, Kirk, the location is superb, you know, vast, you know, they're spread out, and yeah, it's just a really good sort of good spot for a music video. And you know, with the sort of lyrical theme of the title about the eagle flying, it's kind of, it needs to be sort of natural and open and sort of showing that freedom.
Cool. Let's get to. Oh, so you have more?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
He has more.
With the music is, you know, it is. Sorry, Alyssa's vocals. I've always felt, particularly on this track, more than perhaps some other ones, they're too aggressive for the almost melodic music. You know, they don't always marry well. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's melodic death metal. Arch Enemy are great musicians, but the delivery of the riffs are kind of the register is quite high, and her vocals are low and aggressive in the main, so they don't always match up. But obviously it works. It's their style.
I think that's one of the. If you think about it, that's an idiosyncrasy of melodic death metal, like the band Soilwork. You could have a song that literally sounds like Boston with death metal vocals. You know, the hard rock band Boston from the 70s. So you do always get that. Yeah, exactly. So imagine that with death metal vocals. So that is a big element where they deliberately want that to be probably the most aggressive part of the
contrast between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, just an opinion for me that it doesn't always. I mean, a lot of songs do work, but this particular one, the sort of the gulf between them was more so than others.
And I think you see that in the next minute. So let's play minutes 1 to minute 2.
The seed was sown. I will not obey my life as my own. Brutal foes who wish to enslave me, expose the lies that enrage me. I don't believe in heaven, I don't believe in hell. Never tried the hurt, could not entrust well. Slave and master, it's not for me. I chose my own path, set myself free. I go my own way. Swim against the stream. I will find the powers that be. I go my own way. Swim against the stream. I will find the powers that be. The eagle flies alone, rejects the system, penetrates the norm.
Okay, so basically, from what you were saying there, so in that one you get this guttural vocal in that first verse, and it's headbanging rock, and I've called it death rock, because it's not death metal.
No.
The riffs are rock, the vocals are death metal.
Yeah.
And I was listening to it going, it's cool, but each of those on their own separate elements work on their own. But when you're on, you do kind of constantly keep going, I like it, but it doesn't feel quite right. It's great, but it's not what my brain's expecting. You're hearing these death metal vocals and you're expecting the riff, and then you focus down on that riff and you're like, this riff isn't that heavy. It's a good rock track riff.
It's stadium death metal, and I don't mean that in a good way.
Is that a new genre now?
No, but by the way, can I pick up what you said on death rock?
Yeah.
So to be the encyclopedia, that's already taken. That's what they call morbid post-punk music, death rock, the band Christian Death.
Fuck off.
As in,
I'm not having that. I'm not having that. No.
So you can't claim that. But
Death.
lyrically, this is your classic heavy metal tale of the anti-hero, isn't it? Who refuses to follow the herd. One of the lyrics is, I go my own way, I swim against the stream. It's really one of those empowering songs for the audience. It's like, hey, we all follow the religion of heavy metal, and we're outsiders, but when we come together, we're stronger. Do you not find that kind of...
I mean, it does. It's got the vibe of something that's meant to be played at a big arena. It's something that does feel like it should be a big festival.
What's the cheesy is word most people would use.
In this section as well, and throughout the video, what do you think about the slow-mo shots of each musician? Again, I've seen that effect in songs, and on perhaps sort of slower tracks that works. I don't think it worked for me on this one. You know, like the head banging, the hair's like flailing, but the tempo of the music.
So for me, when you see that, it's either the musician in question really wants that shot.
All right, you're right.
So and it does happen. There are band members who'll come down. Guitarists are the worst for that when they want the down the neck shot of their solos.
Yeah.
So when you're doing videography and you're like, right, I'm going to shoot this video, and they're like, yeah, if you've got a camera, I can put my head now. I want to get it shot there. It'll be like really cool on my solo. I'm like, okay, fine.
Well, yeah, I like that, but
But then you get the mosh ones, and you get those ones, and they want the hair whips and stuff. Now, sometimes that can work when you get the hair whips down for a breakdown section or something like that. But when you're doing it where the tempo of the song isn't,
that's what I mean. Yeah,
that to me is where the videographer has either run out of footage that works, and so they use a slow-mo to fill up the
Fill in
footage.
gap, yeah.
We did that with the Scarlet Envy video.
Yeah.
So when I had you guys doing your running down the stairs of the
We were half
Oh,
the multi-story, when I put all the footage together, we had not enough footage to fill the whole song. So I made you do slow-mos down the stairs because it was the easiest way to expand the footage I had was to do slow-mo. That's one way that a director will get around it. Or they've run out of ideas of what to do. They're like, I need to somehow break the flow. Otherwise, if everything's at the same tempo, the easiest way to change, if you can't change an angle or cut to something, slow the footage down, that resets it. So when it goes back up in speed, the viewer is re-engaging again.
Yeah, the tempo's too high for it to be slow motion, isn't it? I mean, you have got examples of bands of great integrity. Morbid Angel, what's track number 1 on Covenant? Is it Redemption? That's all in slow motion, isn't it? But the song is like a grinding Death Doom type song, isn't it? Same with Where the Slime Lies. But that doesn't work for me, that.
No.
Don't get that.
Let's go to minutes 2 to minute 3. Check it out.
I have felt betrayal, cried slow pain, suffered defeat, only to rise again. I go my own way, swim against the stream. I will fight the powers that be. I go my own way, swim against the stream. I will fight the powers that be. These are flags alone.
Okay, so this is basically, you got second verse coming straight in after the back of the chorus. I actually think that works great because sometimes you come out back after a chorus and then they have this like bridge, or you have a main riff that just kind of ambles along and then it kicks back into the verse. I like the fact that you came straight out the chorus, straight into the verse, keeps the energy high. But I didn't feel there was any real peaks or troughs in this song. You know, like how songs will normally do a big build up and then you'll have a great mid breakdown and stuff like that.
Dynamics we're talking about, aren't we?
Yeah, we're talking about this song. Just kind of was like, let's go up and let's kind of sit in this nice mid range for a good time. I mean, I did like around 2 minutes 40. There's this kind of mid introductory kind of riff that kind of kicks in, which is quite good to break up the song at around 2 minutes, or 2 minutes 40 in this case. And I think that does help going into the mid section, because you do need, if you were to do 4 minutes of that up tempo, people are going to tune out, and that was always a risk. So I think having that mid intro there was quite cool. Kirk?
Yeah, the only thing I've noted, 2 minutes 54, when Alyssa introduces the next riff with a roar of alone. I think that stands out for me.
That's going into the mid
And
section.
she's looking right at the camera for it as well. It's one of those
Good time to
key
do
moments. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and obviously in keeping with the lyrical themes of the song about the outsider who hunts alone.
Anything for you for the before we get to the midsection, Andy?
No.
No, I had this feeling there wasn't going to be anything for you. Okay, 3 minutes to 3 to 4 minute. This is the midsection. Okay, so midsection of the song, I like the great rock riff in this one. Pinch harmonics, love that. That was really, really cool. Great solo, and with the harmonics, it felt like they could just do this in their sleep. This didn't feel like it was really technical for the band. It felt very easy, but also very cool. I really like the riff in this section. And as I said, great solo. Yeah, I love that section. And it worked really well considering the first 3 minutes are this kind of standardized rock riff with death metal vocals. This was a great way to kind of break up the pace. Andy?
Yeah, the riff that comes in at this point is really, really good. And the solos, I'm not a huge fan of solos, especially these posers, but these were good solos, not too showboaty. They fitted the song and worked really well without just saying, right, here's my moment, look what I can do on the guitar. It just, it's one of them where you're doing it for the band rather than yourself. So doing it for the song rather than yourself. This is the guitar. Did you say it was Michael Amott?
Yeah.
I thought he left and it was Christopher Amott that stayed, or was it the other way around?
Which of the Amott brothers was in Carcass?
Michael was in Carcass.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lineup for this in 2017. It is Michael Amott on guitars and Nick Cordell on guitars as well. So his brother has left at this point.
Kirk, your section solo?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be. It's going to be quite an inventive solo, but I've heard them so many times, it didn't really stand out for me. The trade-off between Amott and Cordell at this point, it's coming. They're good at what they do, nothing extra.
Our solo, it's a good time to bring in the question about solos nowadays, because if you went back to the 80s, and maybe even the early 90s, solos were still a huge thing, because not everyone could do a great solo.
Yeah, true.
Guitarists were rhythm-based, and then you'd have your specialist that was a lead. Now, everyone knocks out a fucking solo left, right, and centre. So it's become this thing where, especially when you get to bands like Persephone and stuff like that, where they're
Polyphia
and
Persephone and Periphery and
all these P bands, basically. All the P bands, where basically they've just gone and further, and bands like Dream Theater, who really spearheaded the technicality of the guitar solo, it's made it so that guitarists now, they can all do. You can't just, because they couldn't just go away and just shred a solo. You had to have technique and technical ability. So these guitarists in the last sort of 20 years have had to really, really work.
Yeah, basically,
hard.
You can't be certainly can't be in a prog metal band unless you can sweep pick.
But look at things like Sinister Gates from Avenged Sevenfold, again, who really, again, was another spearheader of guitar solos. And when you watch him do a guitar solo, watch him live, especially nowadays, watch him live. He shreds a solo. He looks so bored on stage doing it because he's done it in his sleep. He can just like...
Well, do you know, I was thinking about this yesterday when I finished writing my music reviews, went to the pub, and then walked to Sainsbury's, and I put Rust in Peace on. And Marty Friedman, obviously the song Holy Wars we've covered, his second solo is so illustrative. When I listen to that, I feel like I'm parachuting myself to freedom just with the first pitch bend. I couldn't conjure any imagery like that. There was like a release from tension or pulling at the heartstrings. So you've got to play with feeling. I know it's a cliche, but you've said it many times. A lot of people can sweep pick now. Doesn't really impress you as much now, does it? But if you put on an early Steve Vai album and you hear him doing it, it's incredible. It's just,
you've got to take it to a new place if you're going to do. You've got to find a way of making that solo become part of the song, rather than here's a section where there's a solo that's a separate piece.
Put your personality into it, I think we're saying, which is, I don't even know how to define that, but
was it Testament World War III that we did a review of, and there was a solo in there. Now it was a classic stripped back metal solo, but we all said, I think when we listened to it, that it perfectly fit the song. It did the job perfectly for what it needed to be done. It wasn't trying to showboat too much, but it actually had the right pacing. It went up at the right points and then slowed down for a little bit on the solo. And I just remember of all the bands when we've done solos, talking about when we did the World War III Testament one, we all talked about it's a classic metal solo, but it perfectly worked with the track and it served the song.
I think Dimebag was the best at it, playing with feeling. The song I'm Broken, that solo, it's just him.
Well, that's why with Pantera now doing the live, and Zach Wild, a phenomenal guitarist, who's technically playing what Dimebag play. But he's even said he can't play exactly the same as Dimebag because he's not Dimebag.
Even though he's got the the notation.
He notates, he can play it, and you could listen to it and go, that sounds like Pantera, but it doesn't. There's something not quite right. It's the personality. Right, let's get to the final minute. So minutes 4 to minute 5. Let's play it for you. Okay, so the final minute of the song. I'm going to just say what I wrote about this one. So it's kind of almost summarising the song. The structure of this song is very formulaic. It's the classic rock formula of a song. So you knew you were going to get these verse, chorus. Here's a midsection. Let's do a big chorus at the end. Yada 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 yada. So you've got all that kind of in there. It's very familiar.
Yeah.
But that makes it really easily accessible. So it's great to get new people into, especially if this is more modern. Modern Arch Enemy.
We're sounding like gatekeepers now.
So it's great to get people into it, but it's also this was an incredibly safe song from them in that point of view. They weren't going to be pushing any boundaries or anything like that. This was just a kind of way of going, this is what we did with Angela, this is what we were known for in our origins, this is what we're doing now. And if you were coming in, this is the thing, is if you were coming in and going for listening to new Arch Enemy, this is a great way to bring you into the band to explore. But you're probably not going to like the first couple of albums from Arch Enemy listening to this is what got you into the band.
Yeah.
Is my kind of thought.
I mean, this is very different from the original Arch Enemy. I had the male vocalist and the more sort of death metal. But this, I agree with you, David. It's a safe song. It's by far not my favourite Alicia era song. The ones with Angela Gassow were more aggressive, and there's some really good ones that Alicia's contributed to, but they haven't done enough for me to really get into them. I think it's because I'm still not happy with this sort of extreme contrast. You know, if they sort of raise the aggressiveness of the music to match her vocals, then I think they'd be one of my favourite sort of bands. Do you know what I mean?
See, I go the opposite. If they went more aggressive on the things, I wouldn't be into them.
Yeah, well, that's our taste, isn't it?
But the problem is they're not rock enough for me to be listening to them as a normal rock band that I would listen to. So I like rock and groove.
Yeah.
And I think she's got great vocals, but if she did a whole album of just like the aggressive, over-the-top melodic death metal, I'm like, I'll listen to the odd song, but I'll never get into it.
She does break it up. There are some... in this song, I think there might even be some clean parts, is there?
There are. I can't remember if I didn't make any notes on it. But
no, it's not in the last album where she started doing it.
She did a lot more on the last one, yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's one of those bands I'm not going to basically listen to a whole album back to back. But I'm definitely cherry picking songs from them.
Yeah,
they've got the technical ability, they've got the skills. The musicianship of the band is very, very high. And they're worth seeing. And to be honest, if you went and watched a live show of them, you're getting the greatest hits kind of thing, which is actually probably worth it.
Yeah.
But listening to however many albums of theirs is probably not going to be one of those ones I'd want to go through and start trying to find all the different ones. But it's probably a Spotify playlist is probably where it would be worth going for. But Kirk, your final thoughts on them?
Yeah, it's a strange one. This is a band that are actually bigger as a live act than they are as an artist that shifts unit sales. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you've seen that in the 80s. Even a band like Depeche Mode were always bigger in the early 80s as a live act, and their album sales caught up in the late 80s, especially when they cracked America. And these are like a heavy metal version of that. I do like the outro.
Heavy metal Depeche Mode?
I mean, Depeche Mode are a big influence on metal, on dark music. But there's a surprise outro at 4 minutes and 24 where they basically transcribe the opening guitar passage for piano, which that was quite a good way. The only cliche missing from this is the, hey, hey, hey. Everything else is in there. It's safe, isn't it?
And it would be like, if they'd done that, I'd love that.
But what you were saying, I think you've realised why you don't really like melodic death metal. You've explained it. The contrast, it just doesn't work for you. Same here. Not really it's one of my least favourite subgenres of heavy metal, although I did like the last Dark Tranquility album.
It's a weird one because I do like melodic death metal, but I also do like death metal when it's less extreme. Weirdly, like I'll listen to Obituary and be quite happy listening to Obituary, but I'm not a huge fan of death. I like some death, but not a huge amount. But I prefer Obituary over the two of them.
Band or the genre we're talking about now?
Band.
You're just wearing a death hat.
I know.
Can the camera see that? By the way, we are talking about the best heavy metal band of all time, probably Death, in my opinion, of any genre of metal.
But I've just never quite got into death as much as I did Obituary. Whereas I'll listen to Obituary and go, yeah, good band. I can listen to the whole album back to back without a problem.
You know what you're getting with Obituary? Depending on where you're jumping on the death back catalogue, you could be getting Obituary, or you could get something more in the vein of Arch Enemy that we've just been talking about.
But it could also be a lot of that is down to poor production. So when I listen to early death metal albums and stuff, I'm like, God, your production's shit.
That's the charm. We like that, don't we?
That's not charm, it's bollocks.
I don't think there's any bad production on the death early albums.
No, scream bloody gore.
Well, I was going through your Doom and your Death lists, and I was like, fucking hell, some of this production of some of these songs is bloody awful.
I'd rather have it than something polished like Arch Enemy, though.
I want beef, I want weight.
I want something raw, something ugly if it's death metal.
Anyway, let us know what you think of that. Oh, we should say, Gatekeepers of Metal of us. We letting us in through the gates?
No. Stadium death metal.
No, of course it's going in. Of course it's metal.
Just not my time.
Turn around saying Arch Enemy doesn't get through the metal gates. That's elitism there.
Yeah.
No, of course they get through. Of course it gets through the Gatekeepers of Metals check. Right, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed the video. Don't know about these two, but enjoyed the video. Hope you did, and we'll see you in another video sometime very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.